in terms of challenges and problems, I've sort of seen most of them or a version of them. And I think that becomes your armor through business and how you can help people. So it's changed quite a lot. It's definitely become much more innovative and inclusive, really. It is very fast moving. I think when we launched Nails.INC, it was back in 1999. So trends were slower, and we were, I guess, looking more towards the US than the UK, really, for trends. Today, the industry really works on kind of real-time feedback, consumer feedback, and that engagement and that community. And the UK is now much more of a destination for beauty than it was. And then things that have really changed, I guess, just like the level of transparency that brands share, whether it's ingredients, their marketing, the founder's journey, and then transparency around sustainability has been, increasingly important and a big change in the industry. And then today, kind of, sort of flipping forward to sort of 2025 and moving into 2026, I think people are really sharing how they're working with technology in terms of the beauty industry, of how they're really driving technology either through their marketing or through their actual product development, and how they're going to kind of have a positive experience with AI to really kind of, take the beauty industry to the next level. But I think the biggest change is the UK has become an exciting melting pot of great British beauty brands. Listen and talk less. I think that, you have to really listen more. You have to work with your consumers and your customers as collaborators rather than always thinking of like other brands to collaborate with or influencers to collaborate with. I think the most modern collaboration today is really with your customer. So open conversations, journey right from the beginning. I think consumers also see right through it. So I think they can tell when it's kind of pre-done. You've already launched a brand, then you kind of go back and do the history afterwards because it suits social media. I think like true transparency and listening. And then I think today people really like you when you admit to like owning a mistake. So whether you've gone out of stock or a product hasn't been as strong as some of your other products, I think it's really good. I saw there was a new supermarket that had launched in the US last week, and it like owned the fact that, one of its products was, not good enough, and it's still got queues outside of it because 99% of what they're selling is amazing and 1% isn't good, but it's all over social media, and the founder's out there going, yeah, it's shocking, and he's showing it's appalling, and that he's, kind of recalling it and starting again. So I think customers feel loyal today that, to brands that feel human, and part of being human is like sharing your mistakes as well as, the journey, not just sharing all the positives, but also not making up mistakes. I think consumers see through it. I think genuinely sharing how it is in real time, in real life. So I look forward to the day that we sort of like, I guess hopefully if I've got, two boys and a girl, I hope for my daughter that that those questions are different, right? And it's just like, what has everyone overcome? And I think the pendulum is swinging. It's probably going to swing quite far for it to kind of land somewhere in the middle, which I think is really exciting. And sometimes, with kind of my guy friends and guys I work with, they, kind of comment on, there's some sort of amazing opportunities at the moment for sort of women in business. And it can feel excluding to men at times, but I think it's because it needs to swing so far before it comes back. I think, kind of going back to the beginning of Nails.INC, raising money as a female was difficult. But when I look back, quite frankly, raising money as a non-experienced founder is difficult. And I think I probably saw it at times as being because I was a female. But I know I don't want to back a founder that's never done it before unless that founder is really fantastic. Like, it's so much easier to back an experienced founder, but how can you ever have the experience? So on the other side of it now, that founder sharing their passion, it's almost good that by the time you meet them, they've had multiple knockbacks and you can see their resilience and their grit. So I feel like, raising money is just difficult, full stop. I'm not sure it's any more difficult raising money I think the stats do say it's more difficult to raise money as a female, but I think it's difficult for a first-time founder anyway. I think the biggest thing that, is the ongoing kind of life question is balancing entrepreneurship or any job and motherhood is just the ongoing, like the best thing and the worst thing that happens to you. So I think, I always try to kind of have a positive spin on it and go, I'm living both worlds and I want to do both, and I'm not changing and I'm not giving up on either one. But I think that means you have very little time for yourself, your own well-being, your own routine, and you're putting everybody else forward. And you can at times feel like, you're, you know, one foot in one room and one foot in another. But I really do think that's the balance of any job and motherhood. And I feel like everyone that I know that's been through that wouldn't change it. But I'm sure there are things. And today with work from home and everything, the world has massively improved. When I had children, there was no work from home, just wasn't a thing. You were on maternity or you were at work. And no one gave any value to anyone that was working from home. So I do think the world is much kinder now. You can work from home, and we're also much more tolerant. Like if you were on the phone today and your toddler was in the background, we'd laugh and joke about it. When I first started my business, if I had a toddler in the background, people would think I was unprofessional. You know what I mean? They would absolutely. So it's so improved. But yeah, I think the kind of the regular topics are raising money, but I think that's difficult for everybody. But I think the balance of motherhood and running a business, or working in any role, is just challenging. And you can't sacrifice either one of them. Like, most women want to do both. It's just tough. I would just go, that's really challenging, and it is what it is, and it's really tough. And hopefully you've got a lovely support network at work and home to support you through it. But there's no easy answer to that, I'm afraid. No easy pill. That's challenging. I'd love them to be motivated, but I think I just want to do like a really real public speech, so people can, they can see the highs and the lows, just that it's really honest, it's really approachable, and that it doesn't feel hard. Like I feel like anyone can do it, like anyone can set up a business. And I think I want people to know how accessible it is to set up a business if you want to do it, with all the pitfalls and all the challenges. But I think it's about inspiring people, the positivity of, like, I wouldn't change anything in my journey. And I've had like awful times in business and terrifying times in business, and I wouldn't change any of it because it makes me so calm today with challenges. Like there's not much now that surprises me. I'm like kind of seen that one before, a different version of it. I'm still learning every day, but in terms of challenges and problems, I've sort of seen most of them or a version of them. And I think that becomes your armor through business and how you can help people. But for me, there's no secret sauce. Like I love listening to entrepreneurs' journeys. So I just want to be able to share it, inspire someone, make someone really positive. But the aim is that you could do it too, and that it's not just for certain people, that anyone can do it.